Hello, I'm Charles Reinert alongside Zach Gershman and Andrew Destin, and tonight we're going to be discussing some Lady Lions hoops and what the future could possibly hold for head coach Carolyn Kieger. Looking at this past weekend, the Lady Lions fell to the number 17th ranked Maryland Terrapins, 82-71, extending a very long losing streak to the Terps. So we like to be optimistic here, though. So what did you guys like from this past weekend's performance?
Listen, I mean, there's not a whole lot to write home about, to tell you the truth, outside of McKenna Marisa, who, frankly, every single time that she steps the court, she's the best player on it for Penn State women's basketball. Two players who I'm really looking for a little bit more out of that you really haven't recently. How about Maddie Burke? The last 3 games that she's been playing in, including recently against Maryland, 0 points. That's 3 in a row. And this is a player who was Big Ten Sixth Player of the Year last year, as well as an all Big Ten freshman team selection. They really haven't gotten a whole lot out of her this year. And that was no different against Maryland. And Allie Brigham, where has she gone? The last 4 games, she's averaged less than 20 minutes per contest, averaging just over 4.2 points per game. This is the second leading scorer on the team besides Marisa, who's obviously leading in that department. So Brigham, began the year hot, the George Washington transfer, but outside of that, she's really dropped off recently, and her inability to stay on the court and keep that stamina up has really gone against her. So those two players, ones who we were expecting a lot going into sophomore year for Burke, as well as the first year for Brigham, really haven't got a lot out of them. McKenna Marisa remains a bright spot, but outside of that, not a whole lot.
I disagree with Allie Brigham take, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I think we learned a lot from this game against Maryland. The team was communicating on the court a lot more than they have in games past, and that's honestly a moral win for the team, because going against the number 17 team in the Maryland Terrapins, which should be ranked higher than number 17, they put up a fight, only losing by 11 points. They got blown out when they went to College Park in Maryland the first go-around, so they learned a lot from that one game especially. But Kayla Thomas, somebody who has not had the best season so far, really stepped up in this game, and you kind of spoke a little bit about how you think Allie Brigham has taken a step back, but with her taking a step back, that's given Kayla Thomas a chance to really step in. She was taking charge calls, which the team has not really done so much throughout the season. She was making her layups, and she was making that a force on the court when Penn State lost their big person in Allie Brigham. So the team honestly has learned a lot from that one game against Maryland. It should be interesting to see how they go throughout the second half of the season.
All right, let's get to what we came here for tonight. We'll talk about Carolyn Kieger. The Lions are 2 games under 500 and are currently on a 4-game losing streak. Do you guys think she should be the woman for the job next year in 2023?
They commonly say that year 3 is normally when you're able to properly judge how a coach has done, if they should be fired, if they should stay. Well, welcome back to Sports Court, Destin, because Carolyn Kieger needs to stay with the Lady Lions. Yet this is year number 3 for her, but a lot has changed in the first 2 years. Her first year, it wasn't really her team and her recruits. And then you had Kamari McDaniels and Lauren Ebo. They transfer over to different schools. And while Lauren Ebo and a lot of these other players were a big part of the team, she still was able to bring in Kelly Jaycott in year number 2. She had an injury over there. So the team, the dynamic and who Coach Kieger really wanted to bring in, it wasn't complete. This coming year, you have Shea Chesky coming in, who currently is in high school, but is a point guard generational talent from what some experts are saying. She currently beat her school record. She holds it for over 1,700 points, which is no joke. And with the guard play you spoke about, McKenna Marisa, she needs a number 2 right next to her side. Shea Hagans has not been playing to the expectations that she played her freshman season. So Carolyn Kieger, I think she needs to be here for year number 4, because it's finally going to be her team, her recruits, and also you have Allie Campbell finally going to be potentially coming off the injury list, the Notre Dame transfer, and she's really going to be able to make a stand on this team and make an impact on this team as well, really make a splash. So I definitely think Coach Kieger needs to be here for year number 4.
Listen, I'll give you credit on the one point there, okay? I understand that Carolyn Kieger is doing her best to bring in new talent, and another one, Nia Beverly, the Wisconsin transfer, who has been a solid point guard when she's on the court, struggling with injuries herself. Jay got all these players, but you mentioned it yourself, year 3. It's time to start judging Carolyn Kieger, and that time is right now. She went 99-64 at Marquette. Good. Went to 3 NCAA tournaments all of her last 3 years. Excellent. What has she done at Penn State? First year, 1 win in conference. Second year, a little bit better, but this year it's a step back. 3-7 in conference. Her overall record in conference during her time at Penn State, 10-37. 25-49 overall. I understand the effort, the energy, the juice, as she likes to say. It's not enough. You got to get the on-court results, and the reality is this Penn State women's basketball program, you look through time. Coaches like Renee Portland, Coquise Washington, when she had her stretch of excellence here. This is a women's basketball school. You should be expecting to make the NCAA tournament at least every other season. That hasn't happened these 3 years. It's not going to happen this year unless something radically changes the remainder of the way. So, yes, I want to give Kieger the benefit of the doubt. She interacts well with the media. She's great with the players. Everything she does, you tend to believe that you want her to do well. The reality is the on-court results just haven't backed that up. I would like to see what happens with Allie Campbell and the players she's brought in, but I don't know if Carolyn Kieger is the one who needs to ride that ship moving forward. It is year 3. It's time to judge. 10-37. That's not getting it done in any league, and especially not when you're playing Division I college basketball.
All right, so let's explore the idea of Kieger being relieved of her services after the season. Do either of you have a preferred person that you would like to take up the job as the Lady Lions head coach?
Well, thanks for asking, Charles. Yeah, absolutely do. Jan Jensen, associate head coach at Iowa. 18th year for her in the program, 21st overall with the Hawkeyes. Lisa Bluter is the head coach there, and I understand some people might think, okay, well, she just wants to be an assistant coach the rest of her way. That's my dream candidate. I'm not saying by any stretch that that's absolutely going to happen immediately off the bat, but the established excellence that we've seen. Caitlin Clark this year at Iowa. Megan Gustafson a few years back with the Hawkeyes. The established pedigree to ability to recruit players and develop them to Iowa City. This is not a place where players are flocking to from wherever they may be, closer to inner cities or wherever it is. When it comes to women's basketball, recruiting is huge and development is secondary. Those two things, Carolyn Kieger hasn't done each of them, and I believe at a program like Iowa where that sustained success at a place where maybe basketball success isn't thought upon, I think what she's done there, she would be my prime candidate number 1 to take over for Coach Kieger.
I want Gino Auriemma. No, just kidding. It's not going to happen. And honestly, I don't even want to explore the idea of a new candidate coming in because Coach Kieger needs to stay for another year, Andrew. We spoke a little bit about how the team has really started to come together. They've been talking more on the court. They've been bringing the juice, as you mentioned. This team is fighting for her, and there are not many seniors on that roster that are going to be going on. McKenna Marisa is not a senior. Anna Camden is not a senior. Allie Brigham, the transfer, is not a senior. Allie Campbell, also not a senior. Her core group of players is still going to be here. And then bringing in the new recruits, as I previously mentioned. Let's not even explore the idea of a new head coach because unless it's Gino Auriemma, Coach Carolyn Kieger needs to stay.
Well, it's no secret that the bright spot on the team has been junior guard McKenna Marisa, who recently scored her 1,000th career point with the Lady Lions. Who else on the team has stood out to you during the season?
Well, Leilani Kaepernick is one who stands out certainly to me. I didn't touch on her earlier because the reality is that she's such an all-around player that oftentimes people forget about her, but her contributions all across the court. 8 straight games with at least 10 points. She's slowly climbing up that leaderboard to potentially become the second leading scorer on the team by the end of the season, but her ability to lead the team in blocks as well, generate steals, get a ton of rebounds, 7 rebounds in each of the last 2 games, including against Maryland. Her all-around ability, she's not the greatest shooter, but coming back from injury, she missed her entire freshman season, coming out of Wisconsin, the 5'10" guard/forward, kind of a mixed swingman there at that position for the Lady Lions. I think she's somebody who really stands out and gives it her all on the court at 110% level. Her ability to really be everywhere. She's all around the court, flying around defense, offense. She is a glue player that every team is certainly glad to have.
Yeah, Leilani definitely, with McKenna Marisa, both of them really charge the basket. They really get into the paint, and they're able to make big-time buckets. But speaking of big, I'm going to go with Allie Brigham because she uses size over skill set. Nobody's able to go against Allie Brigham when she's on the court, and her stamina is up there because her big downfall is that the stamina is what's killing her. That's why she's played less than 20 minutes over the past couple of games recently. And for those reasons, if she's able to get that straight and she's able to fix that, she's going to be a great number 2 for McKenna Marisa on the forward side of things. But Leilani, as you mentioned, is definitely somebody that's been standing out. But as we've been talking about this entire time, the game starts and the team starts and ends with McKenna Marisa.
We both make some phenomenal points, but Sports Court is now adjourned. The Lady Lions have a big road matchup coming up on February 3rd against Nebraska and Omaha. With a 9-11 record, the Lady Lions have 8 games left to improve for a Big Ten tournament push. And that's all the time we have for tonight to talk about women's hoops. For Andrew Destin and Zach Gershman, I'm Charles Reinert. Have a wonderful evening.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you're going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind the scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.